Hey guys, Rage Quitting here. I started making Star Wars The Old Republic guides for PvP on this channel maybe like 5 years ago. My first videos that really got the channel popular for Star Wars are no longer on my channel. I have them like hidden or removed because it's old content and it's irrelevant, right? But, you know, the reason why I started making content for Star Wars The Old Republic is because I was already losing interest in the game. And in order to keep my attention on the game, I decided to make videos. Also because in the PvP community, I felt like there was a need for guides for PvP because even 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, the games were not very competitive. To be quite honest, although there was more participation in PvP back then, the games didn't really feel that great. I mean, it is fun to just go in there and steamroll a bunch of people, with your buddies or even solo. But, eventually it gets old, right? And if there's a bunch of new players or inexperienced players on the enemy team and you're just running through them at will, that is fun. But it can only sustain your fun for so long, right? And but what else is if you have a whole bunch of inexperienced or new players on your team, and the enemy team is stronger, then that's not very fun for you, right? Because then you just end up getting steamrolled while you're on the noob team, right? Quote unquote noob team, right? So I wanted to make Star Wars The Old Republic guides because I really felt like the community needs it, right? Like I wanted the community as a whole to get better at PvP so that we can have interesting games, good gameplay. I can create good montages that have resisting players in the montages so that if I pull something off that's pretty awesome, it'll show, right? Because let's face it, like I tried to record some games the other day to show for like another montage. Like I wanted to make another montage video, but it's harder nowadays because, well, one, they removed a bunch of abilities from us, right? We have to choose between all of these abilities that we used to just have as a baseline, that we can use to outplay, right? So intimidating roar for warriors, right? And things like that. Removing abilities makes your outplay potential lower, and now it's kind of just about who can deal more damage faster, right? Or who has defensives up at the time, which doesn't really make for good montage gameplay, I feel. Anyway, there was a game yesterday that I played in the Hut Ball where everything I looked at just died, and I ended up doing more than double anybody else's DPS. And this is not to brag because the damage that I did is, although it's better than average, it's nothing amazing. It's just the fact that I was just mowing through everybody, right? And I'm sorry if you were one of the people on the enemy team at the time this video is recorded. Like, I'm not shitting on you, okay? It's just the culture of this game has shifted, and it's been this way for a long time, right? With people not wanting to get better at PvP because, let's face it, there's really nothing at stake in PvP anyway, right? If you wanted something challenging and you wanted something to be at stake, whether your wins or your losses actually matter and everything you do actually matters, then you play ranked, right? But now that they're removing ranked, it's even more so now that nothing is at stake here when you're going into PvP. So the point I'm trying to make here is I don't think overall that the player base even wants to get good at PvP. Like, everyone who subscribes to my channel wants to get better at PvP, and that's the reason why they're here. And I respect that, right? Because who wants to be shitty at a game, right? Everybody wants to be good. But I think a lot of people don't really care at all about getting better in PvP, especially now with like the influx of players that are coming from PvE that will be participating now in PvP because of the reward track. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like, if you're a PvEer who is now gonna play PvP because of the reward track, like if you're one of those players that's will actually look for videos on how to get better at your classes and learn how to play matchups and blah blah blah, let me know, because I'm kind of at a place now where I'm not sure whether I should continue to make guides for PvP or not. And this is going to be mostly based on your feedback in the comments to tell me, if guides for PvP is something that you're going to be looking for once 7.2 hits, but regardless of that, if there's nothing at stake, and the games don't really matter, because let's face it's kind of been that way, even right now, like, sure, when you're starting to gear your character in a new patch, the wins matter more than the losses because, you're trying to farm your gear. But, now you can just buy gear through the vendor, so it doesn't really matter. And the gearing process doesn't really take all that very long, so once you get your gear, then it really doesn't matter whether you win or lose. And that's why there's people in regs, in a pre-made group, that just farm numbers all day, right? Because all they want to do is kill shit, because the wins and the losses don't really matter. So, one, they took away abilities from the classes, and you have to choose between all of your abilities, which made the gameplay, boring, in my opinion, because you have less things that you can do in order to outplay your opponents. And then now, with the removal of ranked and kind of just shoving everybody in the same queues, I'm thinking that there's going to be more of these games where the good players are just rolling through everybody, and the players who don't care about the win or loss, because there will be more of them, whether you're good or you're bad, you're not going to care because it doesn't matter. There's going to be a lot more like AFKers and just bots, basically, like on the enemy team. In these videos that I'm showing here, in this video, these clips that I'm showing was me trying to get montage footage, but I queued into this game where literally everybody on the enemy team, and I'm sorry if you're in this game, I'm not trying to shit on you, but everybody on the enemy team, I could tell, was inexperienced. Some people are just standing there not knowing how to move their character. Some people are not kiting me. Some people are not putting up defensives, and literally everybody I look at just dies, and I'm just going through them one at a time. And I was trying to get montage footage or good footage to post, but it's not very interesting when you can tell that I'm just steamrolling on noobs. You know what I mean? So the point I'm trying to make here also is that I think this is a sign of what's to come in the future, with the new PvP system and the reward track. There's going to, because these games were kind of already common. Games where I just do more than double anybody else's damage. But it's going to be even more common, I think. And imagine if I had one or two other players with me that were doing the same amount of damage as me against an enemy team like this. Like, it's just not fair, and it doesn't make for interesting gameplay, and it just makes... The good thing that I will say about Star Wars, because nothing is at stake, that it is very casual friendly, where you can just not give a fuck about anything. And if you wanted a game that you could just log into just to PvP, just because it's fun, to PvP, and you don't care whether you win or lose, you just want to get in here and fight things, then yeah, it's good for that, because that's really all it's good for. But anyway, I don't want to just rant for too long. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about the future of the game. Whether you're a PvEer who is now going to PvP because of the reward track system. If you're a ranked player who's going to quit, whatever. Let me know what your guys' situation is with the game and how you feel about it, and let me know whether or not you're looking forward to PvP content in the future. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna just end it there, and I'll see you guys on another one. Peace.